Take charge of one aspect. As for something where I, on the side of the prosecution, we are ready to go on with the case today.
Case adjourned to when?
Till the 5th of November.
Today, we are here in court for the shortist to explain to the court actually where he is. And you are also aware by virtue of what transpired in this court, and last adjourned date being 17th of November, that I don't think that much will happen had it been the court even sit. So because of the fact that the court reserved the ruling on our application asking the military to produce him in court. So, until when that ruling delivered, then we'll not know what will happen next in the proceedings. Because when we are saying that the military invaded his house, we supply the court with the material evidence and the documents to show that they actually invaded his house, killed people and arrested him. And at the time they invaded his premises and his home, he was in the house. And alerted me about the onslaught, which I also quickly issued a statement to that effect on the 14th day of September 2017. So we have documents to show to the court that, look, this will enter his house on 14th of September 2017. And since then, we've not heard from him. We've not established any form of contact with him. So, and the military, as you are aware, they came here on a fishing expedition because they were telling the court that on the 14th of September 2017, that they intercepted a trolley load of arms and ammunition and gave the truck a hot chase. Eventually ended up in a home they later discovered to be Nnamdi Kanu's home. That is a fairy tale, we told the court.
About 20 people were killed and several others injured in fresh attacks between farmers and herdsmen in Numan local government area of Adamawa State. The attack was said to have occurred on Monday night as a result of the killing of a farmer by suspected herdsmen, resulting in a reprisal attack by the farming communities of Shoforon, Kodumti and Kikan, all in Numan local government area of Adamawa State. We have confirmed that those affected fled their communities following rumors of alleged reprisals and are taking refuge at the Numan General Hospital. How much more of the killings will continue unabated? Are the measures taken by some states to stop open grazing working? We're going to focus on that in just a moment. Data feeds are coming through in one place simultaneously on all our social media platforms, channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. You can follow us right now on m.channelstv.com and on Facebook as well. We've got all our platforms on social media covered. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV. Use the hashtag State of the Nation to air your thoughts on the subject. The ECOWAS court has adjourned the case involving the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB Nnamdi Kanu, and the federal government. The self-acclaimed IPOB leader had filed a suit requesting $800,000 as compensation from the government for allegedly infringing on his human rights. The counsel to Nnamdi Kanu informed the ECOWAS court that the motion was filed as a deliberate attempt to frustrate the trial because the government had more than 1 month to file the motion but failed to do so. The hearing of the suit was subsequently adjourned to February 8, 2018. Is this yet another painstaking delayed treason court case? Will it end in the manner of the MASOB leader, Ralph Wazirike? The federal government has condemned the burial of 26 girls found dead in the Mediterranean Sea and demanded explanation from the Italian government. The senior special assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erawa, says that the girls were sold as slaves. And this is something that should be unaccepted to the whole world. We'll also examine that developing story as well. It's prime time in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. Right behind me, data feeds are still coming through on all our social media platforms in one place simultaneously. Be part of the show. Tweet at Gimba Umar CTV and use the hashtag State of the Nation. We have we've got breaking news that the Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe has indeed bowed out and he has resigned. We understand that after so much pressure and moves to get him impeached by members in that country, Robert Mugabe, who is 83 at the moment, has finally resigned from office. That will be 93 years old. He has actually resigned from office. That's the breaking news that we're following at this time. We're going to keep tabs on that story, but just before then, after concerted efforts to improve security at all levels of government, it has happened again. About 20 people were killed and several others injured in fresh attacks between farmers and herdsmen in Numan, Adamawa State. And this is coming on the heels of the controversial anti-open grazing laws in effect in Benue State, with Taraba State also looking at that possibility of adopting same fully. While that is ongoing, tragedy struck in Numan, Adamawa State. Let's get a better understanding of this. Oladinde Ario is a security expert. He joins me in the studio. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on State of the Nation at this time. This is happening just so unexpectedly, I would say, because we thought that after seeing the cases of Benue State enacting that law on the 1st of November that prohibits open grazing, and then we saw the Nasarawa state government, on the other hand, says that perhaps this is not the way to go because some of the gray areas were still hanging. What was your impression when you heard about this
I knew that
this attack?
It was a time bomb waiting to explode. Impunity has been brought to bear on all of these things. And I say impunity more on the part of the cattle men. Animal husbandry is a private business. And that's my own position at all times. To that extent, your business stops being legal or legitimate at the point where it destroys my own means of livelihood. I have seen classic cases in Edo State where somebody brought in funds from the US, set up a farm and planted plantain. He had a huge plantation, and in just 2 weeks, these people got there, they invaded the farm and destroyed everything. Not one stem was standing. Now, the state comes to my mind. They've had the law banning open grazing. Have you heard any news from there lately? No. Unfortunately, again, I read one of the leaders of Miyetti Allah threatening that they either allow them to do their business or the country will burn. No,
I believe they didn't threaten. They were only asking that some of those grey areas be cleared first before any grazing law comes in effect.
The point remains that all over the world, people manage animals. And we've not had unending cases of clashes between the locals and the herdsmen. Why is our own different? It's different because the people who own those cattle, okay, they're the ones arming their herdsmen against local community. Otherwise, we keep saying these things. What's a herdsman doing with AK-47?
So what would you recommend as the best way to approach in getting these killings to stop once and for all?
You remember the federal government said they had imported some special grass or something that they will plant somewhere and keep them in particular location. Okay. I also remember when they came and said that desertification is the reason why they had to migrate southwards. But the question remains, if you must migrate, the interests of the people, the indigenes, the farmers, should it not be taken into consideration? Must your own business come over and then destroy their means of livelihood? People borrowed money to invest in farms.
What do you think about the trans-grazing route that cuts across Nigeria?
Well, it's been there over the time.
Should we close it?
We cannot just close it like that, because we all eat meat, okay? We all enjoy these things. I would prefer a situation whereby a more pragmatic approach, okay, can be brought in. Unfortunately, we cannot blame Benue State government for taking the action that they took, because they've had to carry so much burden. They lost people, they lost investments, they lost farms, and the government was made to look bad and weak. Okay, so closing is not the solution, but they should be made to know that they must, to the authority of the local people, one. Number two, they must, they should not take the animals to farms. They can go into the thick forest or wherever, but not to farmlands that are purposely cultivated. That's destructive.
Now, this particular one that happened in Adamawa State has to do with reprisal attacks, we hear, and then they staged this early morning attack when the Muslims were still having their morning prayers. We've also had this kind of scenario in Jos, the Plateau State capital, in Riom to be precise. We've also had it in Mangu, all were reprisal attacks. So it seems to be one
recurring.
Yeah, it's recurring, and it seems to be you hit me, I hit you twice. How then do we begin to approach this? If the state governments on their own are enacting laws that prohibits open grazing, what should the federal government be doing?
Well, as the big brother, I would rather, well, I was against federal government spearheading the invasion of grass initially. But when I looked at it and I said, if that will bring peace, so be it. Okay? I would rather federal government steps in, identify more areas in different parts of Nigeria, okay, and ensure that grasses are planted purposely for grazing, and of course get the herdsmen to know that they cannot just invade people's farms. For as long as they do that, we will continue to have attacks and reprisal attacks. There was one that happened, I can't remember now, in Portiskum, that they invaded a market and killed people senselessly.
What we are canvassing in court is that the state cannot, in the words of the lawyers, appropriate and reprobate. The state cannot on its own go ahead to vitiate the bail that we had undertaken and turn around to ask us to come and continue to produce the person. And our contention is a very simple thing. The state acted in a way that made it impossible for us to do what we had undertaken to do. And we're asking the court to see the facts and circumstances of the case.